Hey everybody, this is Bill. I'm the salty old Marine. Yeah, today I want to talk about ChatGPT and other AI tools. There's been a lot of conversation in the veteran community about using ChatGPT. Some say, hey, if you use that, the VA is going to know and you're just going to lose your claim. There are others who say, I use ChatGPT to do my whole claim and I win every single claim. And the answer to that is somewhere in between. ChatGPT is artificial intelligence. And a lot of people will argue about how intelligent it really is. And they're not wrong. However, it's still a tool. It's a new kind of a tool. It hasn't been around all that long, at least not in public, not publicly accessible. And it's really good at some things and really bad at others. And sometimes it hallucinates or even just makes stuff up. So if you're going to use it, you're going to have to be careful and you're going to have to double check what it says. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. I'm going to tell you right now, I use it extensively in my claims on my journey from 10% to 100%. And I think that it was instrumental in helping me with my claims. But the question is, where? What did I use it for? All right, let's break that down. The first thing that I use ChatGPT for extensively is brainstorming. For example, I say, hey, ChatGPT, I have sleep apnea. I've been diagnosed. I have a CPAP machine. Could that possibly be related to my current VA disabilities? I have tinnitus and PTSD. And ChatGPT cogitates that for a minute and says, oh yeah, there's a common relationship between both tinnitus and PTSD and sleep apnea. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So that's a potential claim as a secondary condition. How interesting. That's the kind of brainstorming that I use ChatGPT for. And you can get quite esoteric. So for example, I say, hey, ChatGPT, I have diabetic neuropathy in my feet. It's pretty bad. Had it for a long time. It's basically this pins and needles feeling in your feet and loss of sensation. I don't always know where my feet really are. I tend to foot slap when I walk, or I sometimes drag a foot. I've tripped over things before, and it's gotten so bad that I actually walk with a cane now, mostly just to help my confidence as I'm walking. So could that be a VA disability? I mean, it didn't happen while I was in the Marine Corps. Okay, ChatGPT thinks about that. Diabetic neuropathy is caused by diabetes. Okay, I have diabetes. Not service-connected, but I have diabetes. Diabetes can be caused by a number of different things, including obesity. Oh, wait a minute. I am borderline obese. My BMI is 30.5, which is just over the threshold. So yeah, I'm a big boy. And as a matter of fact, my PTSD used weight gain while I was in the military as a marker for my PTSD. And my sleep apnea was filed based on PTSD with weight gain with obesity as an intermediate connection. So it's not like the VA doesn't recognize that A, I'm obese, and B, that it has contributed to service-connected conditions. So that means, theoretically, I could claim diabetic neuropathy secondary to diabetes, secondary to weight gain or obesity, secondary to PTSD. Holy cow. Yeah, that's a stretch, right? I haven't filed it. I'm never going to file it. But it was a brainstorming session. You see how this works? It gives you ideas. it draws logical conclusions and helps you figure out how this web of disabilities might or might not relate to anything that has happened to you while you were in the service. So I call this brainstorming. And again, I use ChatGPT for this quite often. You can speak to ChatGPT in a normal tone of voice like you were talking to a person. Just type it in. Hey, if I have this and I have that and they're service connected, and then I have this third condition, is there any chance that it could be related to either of those other two for VA disability? And it gives you an answer. Now, again, ChatGPT can be wrong. It can lie. It can exaggerate. It can hallucinate. Just make stuff up completely. Yeah, it happens. So anything you find, don't get too excited at first. You're going to have to go through and verify. All right, so you're going to have to Google and do your own research and think about things and see what you can find out there that's not from ChatGPT. But, you know, it's pretty good. And I like it for that, for brainstorming. Now, here's the other thing that ChatGPT is really good at, and I think that I used it a lot in my claims, and maybe you should too, and that is the personal statement. When you file a VA disability claim, and you say, hey, VA, I have tinnitus, right? You should be putting in a personal statement along with your claim, and you're going to talk about the things that matter to the VA with regard to tinnitus. And that's important, the way I just said that, because although it's a narrative and you can say whatever you like, the VA is only going to care about certain things in your personal statement. And your personal statement does matter. Your statement is considered to have value. You may not be a doctor or a lawyer, but you know you. And the VA will take that as something valuable. So don't waste it by putting something in your personal statement that the VA doesn't care about. That is something that ChatGPT is outstanding at. So you can talk to ChatGPT, again, like you're talking to a friend, and say, listen, I'm filing a claim, a VA disability claim for tinnitus. And here's when I think it happened. And this is my military background. And this is what testing has shown. And all these things, right? And you just put that all into ChatGPT and say, can you help me write the personal statement? It knows what format a personal statement has to be in. It understands the 38 CFR for tinnitus, so it knows what things need to be emphasized when you talk about this, and it's going to come back with a couple of paragraphs that are going to be just ideal. Now, you're going to have to check them carefully and make sure there's not an exaggeration or a lie. Again, ChatGPT will say things that didn't come out of your mouth, so read it carefully. Don't cut and paste. I do not recommend that. And honestly, I rewrite whatever it says in my own words, right? But I keep the basic format, and I make sure I hit all the points that it points out, because I have also read the 38 CFR for that condition, and I also know what the requirements are. But ChatGPT is outstanding at making sure all those highlights are hit. And there's nothing wrong with doing this. The VA is not going to deny your claim because you used ChatGPT in your claim. It can be incredibly advantageous. And these are two of the ways that I use ChatGPT that I think you might find advantageous also. Number one is brainstorming, and number two is the personal statement. So consider it, give it a try, play with it. Tell me what you think. I'm Bill. I am the salty old Marine. Please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, leave a comment, write a ChatGPT generated comment or something. I don't care. And as always, have a great day.